Hey, everybody, welcome back to Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Takers. And today we have a story and a student that I could not be prouder of. Welcome to the show, Michael. And why don't you tell everybody your good news?
I passed the Florida bar.
Isn't that a great feeling to be able to say that?
Man, if I were doing any better, I'd be twins.
This has been a real odyssey for you, and it's been a struggle, I know. And I wanted you to come on today to share the struggle, but also the joy that you feel when you get over the top, because there's no feeling quite like this.
Yes, the one of the best feelings that I've ever felt.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to be taking the Florida bar, and then we'll walk through the process.
I went an untraditional path in law school. I had a career. I worked at a car dealership with my family's business for many years, and it was always my intention to be an attorney. My mother's a psychologist, so she would always ask us when we were younger, we being my siblings, what do we want to be when we grow up? And from the time that I could always remember, I always wanted to be an attorney. So as growing up, life and different things happened, I really wasn't even sure that I would even get into law school. That was an ordeal in and of itself. But through the grace of God, I was able to get into law school. And then once I got into law school, I was grateful to have made it out of law school. And then I started at 36 years old. So by the time that I graduated, I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, this is something new. I could recognize that the bar was going to be something different and it was going to be something a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, and it was more challenging for you. I think you took the exam a total of what, 6 times?
February 2024 was my sixth attempt.
Okay. So you come out of law school, you take the bar exam, and so many people, you get kind of bench slapped and you go, holy cow, what just hit me, right?
Honestly, the first time that I took the bar, I completely self-studied and I used the big box program. And I actually left this situation feeling this wasn't as bad as I thought. The very first time that I took the bar, it was done remotely. So I was not dealing with the nervousness of being at the Tampa Convention Center or those different factors. So when I completed the test, I was like, it's unfortunate that I didn't pass, but there was so much stuff that I did not know going into the bar. I felt this isn't that bad.
Yeah, and certainly those pandemic remote exams were very different, weren't they, than what we see today?
Much different, for a lot of reasons. One thing is, for me, studying the bar was more about studying myself than the actual bar. Being at home, being in the quarantine type situation, it was my home was just it was too much going on in the house. It was like, do I relax here or do I actually focus here?
Yeah.
And so sitting down and actually taking the bar, having those nerves and everything that's going on when you do take the bar, but you're in your home and your brain is saying, relax a little bit. You're at home. It was an odd place to be at psychologically.
Yeah, and that was difficult for a lot of people. You weren't successful on the exam, and we come out of the pandemic, and then you kept taking the exam, and you weren't making a whole lot of progress, and you came to us. Can you talk a little bit about what led you to Celebration Bar Review?
I have a friend and my sister's friend, and her sister actually took Celebration Bar Review many years ago. And she told me with the other programs that they were using, they were starting at a point that felt like it wasn't the beginning. So I felt like there were deficiencies coming into it because I didn't start Celebration until subsequent times after I had failed it. So I was noticing like, wait a minute, I keep seeing stuff that I've never seen before. I keep seeing things that are just not connecting. So that was my introduction to the thought that I need to go a different way. I can't keep doing things the same way and expect a different result.
Yeah, and you really embraced that philosophy. I know that you took advantage of was photo reading. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like and how you used it?
Photo reading was definitely an adjustment for me because, like I said, it's more about studying myself than actually studying the test. So you have to get over a feeling of skepticism. Is this really working? Is this really real? And I can tell you honestly, on the exam that I passed, thank God, there was a concept in the first essay that I'm sure no one had heard of because it was called tortious interference. And I was like, this concept wasn't covered in any of the books. It wasn't covered in anything because I've read the books. I've done everything multiple times. So I was like, here we go again. It's another way that the floor bar is going to get me. But thankfully, because something, our photo read, came back to me and started saying, no, let's let's diagnose this. Let's look at what's going on. Let's look at what they're telling you. Let's look at what's in the fact pattern. So I was able to remain calm in that situation. And while I can say, I don't know if what I wrote was perfect, I know what I wrote got me a pass.
You got a 60 on that essay. The mean was 50. You killed that essay. Your writing scores were terrific all the way across. And this was part of the process for you was that you passed the multi-state with us, but didn't get through the Florida part. And so you had to come back and just sit for part A.
Definitely. Yeah. I ended up passing the multi state lat in July of 23. And it was very difficult because I only didn't pass over about 2 points.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of wind out of my sails, and I'm very grateful to my wife. She was like, "You have to take it again immediately." And so it was like, okay, I'm not going to take any time off. I took it 6 in a row. I didn't take any time off. I kept going back because every subsequent time I continue to learn something else. I continue to build on my skills and I continue to become better. And my mother, my father, my wife, they were really in my corner pushing me saying, keep going, don't give up, keep going, don't give up. That speaks to the support system and everything that was around me.
Yeah, that's a wonderful benefit and blessing to have your family around you. And congratulations to them as well. One of the questions I get sometimes from people, there are a lot of skeptics out there. They wonder if these interviews are real. You're real, aren't you?
100%.
Yeah. And they ask sometimes, does our writing system work? We teach this fact law application methodology. Did that writing system help you?
It helped me to be able to diagnose problems that I wasn't able to foresee.
Yeah.
And one of the tricky things about the Florida bar, as you all know, if you're going to be taking Florida, it's a lot of information. And if you're trying to force it in your brain, good luck with that. But with this process, it teaches you a process, whereas you can keep duplicating it. And for me, there was safety in being able to duplicate the process. So even if I got to something that I didn't know, like tortious interference, I was able to say, okay, let me diagnose the problem the same way that I've always done it.
Yeah. And the result, of course, is that then you passed part A and you get the overall pass. Tell me
Yeah.
about the moment on Monday when you saw your scores.
Honestly, I went into this and I said, I'm not going to stress. One thing that I'm very appreciative of. I know sometimes you may question the emails that you send, but you send emails, and I think sometimes you try to be cautious about using scriptures and different things like that. But it brought me a lot of peace to see those scriptures because I believe in the word of God. And it was something that would just keep ringing in my spirit, which is, though it may tarry, it will come to pass. So I knew that I said to myself, the worst thing is you have to take it a seventh time or eighth time or a ninth time, but you will get there. You will pass. When I was actually at work and I just said, I'm going to just do a regular day. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to work. I'm not going to stress out. The manager and attorney where I worked at, he left and went to the clerk of courts. And I was in the office by myself. And so I said, it's either I'll be smiling or I'll be crying. So when I opened up the email surprisingly, the site was working smoothly. It was like, "Yeah, we're ready for you, Mike. Come on here." And I just about jumped through the roof of the building that I was in because to see all those fails, to see all those different almost right there, close, and to actually see the word passed, it was like, "Okay, I'm vindicated now." And hopefully I'm not going on too much about this,
Mm.
but there's a gray area that you're in when you graduate and you have your JD. The world almost makes you feel like you're nothing because you don't have your bar license. So you're sitting here in this gray area where I respect paralegals, but I don't necessarily want to be a paralegal. I respect legal assistants, but I don't want to be a legal assistant. I want to be an attorney. I went to law school for this. I sacrificed. I didn't go on vacations with my family. I didn't do the things that I wanted to do. And now that I have done this, I have this last hurdle to accomplish. And everyone is telling me basically, oh, we can't hire you because if you try to be a paralegal, then they say, are you going to take the bar? You have a JD. Or if you try to get an attorney job, they don't want to hire you because they say, you don't have your bar license. So you're in this rock and this hard place. But when you see that pass, and I just want to encourage those that may be listening, you will see that pass, then you're vindicated. Then I did not waste 3 years of my life in law school. I did not waste thousands and thousands of dollars on these different programs. It was worth it.
I don't think I could say it better than that, Mike. I'm tearing up hearing you say this. For those that don't know, the pass rate for repeat bar takers in Florida in February was 29%. It's a very small number of people that get through door here. And your accomplishment is really, truly remarkable. I think it speaks to the quality of person that you are. It certainly speaks to the kind of lawyer that I know you're going to be. And all of us here could not be prouder than we are of you and your perseverance. I know your family must be elated at your success.
Yeah, I told my wife and my mother, I was like, you guys get the peacock now because this is our victory. This is we passed
Yeah,
the bar. There were so many times and speaking to that person that may be in the same position that I'm in, they're going to want to go to the Grand Canyon and you're going to have to tell them no. They're going to want to party and you're going to have to tell them no. So you're going to have to sacrifice and you're going to have to do things that may feel inconvenient and uncomfortable, but you have to keep the main thing. I want to pass the bar and I have to do what it takes in order to get where I want to be. So my family was so supportive and they always understood when I had to go and say, okay, I can't do this or I can't do that. I can't be here or I can't be there. Everyone from my daughter to from the smallest to the biggest. And to know that I had their support and their love and their constant pushing, it was just like, man, $100 here or you can do it there, or keep fighting, or I'm so proud of you no matter what. Those things matter. And if you're a family member of a person that is taking the bar and going through this, remember they're not being disrespectful. They have a dream and they have a goal, and you are part of that. So when they win, you win. And my family, we danced the jig. We had a good time.
that's great. That's great. That's wonderful news to hear. I guess the final question I've got for you, the one that people ask is, would you recommend Celebration Bar Review?
Absolutely. I would definitely recommend Celebration Bar Review. It's easy to talk about people being cool and calm under pressure, but we come to it's just like being an attorney. When someone calls your line, they're in distress. And you're in this position because you probably feel distress. You probably tried a big box company. You've probably been in a position where you've had this one, that one tell you, oh, all you have to do is this and all you have to do is that, but it's a difference when you have someone that knows what they're doing, is able to hold your hand through the process and say, I know exactly why you're having the result that you're having. Do you trust me with that? And are you going to do it? Something that I asked Jackson when we first spoke was, is everything I need there in the kit? I don't want to have to buy anything else. I don't want to have to do anything extra. And he assured me, you have everything that you need to be able to pass the bar there. And so from that point on, I was able to learn the things that I needed to learn to get me where I wanted to be. So because of that, I would definitely say I would recommend Celebration Bar Review.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And I remember our first conversation, Mike, and it's always fun to think back and to think forward. It's such a journey and such a challenge, and you just hung in there and did it. And you didn't, as you say, you persevered, you stayed with it, you didn't complain, you just went and did your work. And I know that's going to make you an extraordinary member of the bar. And frankly, a member of the bar that we need in Florida and throughout the country. I think it's upwards from here. I'm glad that this childhood dream of yours has now been realized. And I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate your family and friends, all the people that supported you through this process. And I really appreciate your words of wisdom because I know there are people that are going to be watching this who have been discouraged and are ready to give up. And I know you would say to them, don't give up.
110%. I can tell you July of last year, 2023, when I passed the MBE and I didn't pass the Florida section and I only didn't pass by 2 points, it was a gut punch. Life is not about how many times that you get knocked down. It's about how many times you're able to get back up when you get knocked down. So for those of you that may need encouragement, I'm here to tell you, be encouraged. God is real and he has not forgotten about you. Keep believing, keep struggling, keep fighting. You will get there.
I know that there is somebody out there that needs to hear that word that you just put out. You've done a wonderful thing to get here, but this is the starting line, not the finish line. You're going to be a force. Don't let anybody put a basket over your light, okay? Because you're the real deal, my friend.
Really, I really appreciate I'm so grateful to you guys and I'm so grateful to God.
You ran the race. You didn't give up. And that is so powerful. It's so powerful. And there somewhere out there, there is a young black man who's been told he can't do this, that he's not smart enough, he's not good enough, he didn't go to the right law school, he's not trained well enough. And he needs to hear that that's not true. That's the enemy whispering in his ear. And he needs to hear that. And when he hears you speak, it's going to change his life. I guarantee that. So
I want
thank you.
I want to help people. I just want to be able to help people.
Oh, man, that's great. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations again. It's a pleasure talking to you and best wishes as you start your new career. Thank you for watching. I hope that you're as inspired and motivated by Mike's words of wisdom and his story. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you again on our next interview. Bye bye, everybody.